Welcome to NorCal Tea Party Radio.
All across the nation, the party's just begun. Voices speaking loud and clear, there are battles to be won. Gathered here to reunite, join the revolution, 'cause we are strong, standing tall, upholding the Constitution. We the people say.
And now the host of We the People NorCal Tea Party Radio is Ginny Rapini. Jenny is the coordinator of the NorCal Tea Party.
Welcome to We the People Radio. This is Ginny Rapini welcoming you this day. We have a very special guest today, Congressman Tom McClintock, who has been a Tea Partier before there was even a Tea Party. We're proud to be associated with him, and we aren't proud to be associated with too many politicians. Welcome, Congressman McClintock.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. Thanks for having me.
I want to give them a little bit of background as to why specifically you're here with us today. I am one of the Tea Party groups that the IRS has been after since 2010 when we first applied. Actually, early in 2009, we applied for our incorporation and then applied as a nonprofit corporation, and then in late 2009. That's right. This all happened in 2009. Then I sent in our application, and about 9 months later, I got a letter from the IRS wanting more information. Well, we had only been around for about a year, and so I gave them every piece of information that they asked for, but it only added to about a 2-inch stack of papers. That was in July of 2010. And then this January, I got another letter of request that had 19 requests, and under those there were bullets of anywhere from 3 to 5 additional things under each category of the 19. I sent a box to them that was well over 2,500 pages, more closely to 3,000 pages of information, notebooks, pass-outs, teddy bears even. They wanted absolutely everything we had ever done in 3 years. After sending that, and they gave me 2 weeks to do it, after sending that, I called your office and you stepped in, and let's take it from there.
Well, your situation is, as you know, not unique to the Tea Parties. The IRS has been harassing Tea Party applications across the United States. And we have to understand, this is the same taxpayer designation that's given to groups like MoveOn.org, the League of Conservation Voters, the ACLU, the National Rifle Association, various taxpayer groups. They're all included in this definition. There is no political litmus test to 501 section status. Those are, we recognize that Americans have a right to their opinions. They have a right to organize, to promote civic causes in concert with those opinions. This is rather unusual. In fact, I would even call it unique for the IRS to begin applying a litmus test to one particular viewpoint, but that's what we're watching them do. That is an outrage. This is the most powerful and feared bureaucracy within the government, and to use it to harass groups based upon their political opinions is despotic, and that's what we're watching now out of this administration. As you know, a large number of House members have signed a letter to the IRS demanding that they reveal the decision-making process that's going into this conduct. We have not yet received a reply.
I'm shocked.
Unless we do soon, I think we're going to have to demand an investigation by the Committee on Government Oversight. This is an abuse of power that cannot be tolerated.
Well, along with some of the information that they were asking of me, I am applying for a 501c4, which is not tax deductible. Therefore, I do not have to give the names of our donors. They asked me for every single person who has ever donated their name, their address, their phone number. I didn't give it to them. What I did give them was a copy of our PayPal donations, which when you print off a copy, it only shows the date and the amount. It doesn't show who. but they were asking me for information that doesn't even apply to what I'm applying for.
Right, and they have no legal authority to do so. What they're doing is asking for the names of donors when as you point out, these are not tax deductible, so the IRS has no legitimate interest in knowing the names of your donors. And they're also asking these groups for the names of their volunteers.
Oh,
which
absolutely.
Is completely
yes.
outside the purview of the IRS unless the intention is to harass and intimidate.
And I don't think that they thought that I would send everything to them. And what was interesting to me, Congressman, is that I was given 2 weeks to gather all this information. Fortunately, I'm extremely organized and I keep copious records, and owning my own business, I've learned to do that. So everything that they asked, I had, but I got it to them in the 2-week time limit. Now I had to have it to them by February 15th. I have yet to hear from them.
Right, and at the same time, they're demanding the names of every participant at every one of the meetings that have been held over the last 2 years, transcripts of every speech given at those meetings, what positions you've taken on the issues.
Right.
That is absolutely none of the IRS's business. That has absolutely nothing to do with the IRS determination over 501c4 status. This is an agency that is obviously using its power and authority, which is fearsome, to intimidate people based upon their opinions. And like I said, this is as much a threat to the ACLU and MoveOn.org as it is to the Tea Party groups, because if the IRS can be used by a radical left-wing administration to go after conservatives, no one's freedom is safe.
Well, how high up do you think this decision-making goes? Is it the IRS that made the decision to crack down on nonprofits, or does it go all the way up to the White House?
I don't know. Obviously, it goes up to the national administration, at least of the IRS, because we are seeing similar complaints all across the country. So we know it goes up at least that far. How much farther it goes up, we don't know. That's why we've asked for the documents from the IRS so that we can follow that decision-making process. And if they don't give us a satisfactory reply soon, then the next step is to invoke Congress's oversight authority over the bureaucracy and hold a formal investigation and subpoena those documents.
Well, some of the other information that they were asking from me was any handout, anything we had ever passed out at any rally or event. And one time we happened to pass out these little white teddy bears that had red and blue stars on them, happened to have one of those left and included that, said that this answers question 1C. They also wanted every single email I have ever sent out since the beginning. Right. That's what took up the most paper, because I kept them all.
And let's keep this in mind. They are not making those same demands of any of the liberal groups that are applying for the same 501c4 status. This is exclusively directed at the Tea Party and other conservative groups. That's the objection. It is a gross double standard and a gross abuse of the IRS's authority for what are patently political objectives.
What do you think is the likelihood that we will get our 501c4 as NorCal Tea Party?
Well, I don't know, because we've not been yet given access to the decision making that is responsible for this conduct by the IRS. I do know this. I believe that the federal government is going to be under new management in January, and this abuse has then got to be brought to a screeching halt.
Is there a way that the IRS can be similarly charged as Darrell Issa is charging the Attorney General with contempt if they refuse to provide you with the information you're asking for?
Well, again, the next step, this is simply an inquiry on behalf of our constituents from a number of members of Congress who have all received complaints from their constituents over this conduct. If we don't receive a timely response in the next few weeks, then our next step will be to go to Darrell Issa, who is the chairman of the Government Oversight Committee, and ask for a formal investigation. The committee has subpoena powers and can subpoena those documents.
Are there other congressmen that are doing what you're doing and working as hard as you are on our behalf?
Yes. Again, these are complaints that have been brought to many members of Congress by their local Tea Parties. This is not restricted to one incident or one region. This is systemic, and it's going to require a systemic investigation.
What kind of cooperation do you get from the Republican leadership of Boehner and Cantor? Are they willing to fight the fight as well?
Well, we will find out.
So you don't really know for sure yet?
Again, we've made no requests of them yet.
Okay.
We, as members of Congress, have sent a joint letter to the IRS asking for an explanation of their conduct. If we don't get one, then the next step is a formal congressional inquiry, and then we will rely upon the cooperation of the Speaker and the House leadership.
Do you anticipate their cooperation?
I do.
Oh, good.
I expect it.
Good. So what can we do as individual Tea Party groups to continue to push back against the IRS? I've wanted to ask if I should continue to make phone calls and say what's happening with our status. But while you're working on it, I didn't want to tread in your territory.
Look, Louis Brandeis said it best. He said, "Sunlight is the best of disinfectants." The American people need to understand how the IRS is behaving, how it is apparently being manipulated by this administration for brazenly political purposes using a gross double standard, and that if this precedent is allowed to stand, no one's liberty is safe.
And that's true. And I think I also mentioned to you after I gave you this complaint that within just a month after us turning that in, we then got this bill from the IRS for 12 years ago saying that we hadn't filed our income taxes, and it was for well over $70,000.
Yeah, and that's the most chilling of all. That you would apply, which is your right for a 501c4 designation, a ministerial act by the Internal Revenue Service, and not only be harassed in this manner, but then be subject to a personal income tax audit from 12 years ago after you have made that filing, which leads then to the chilling answer to the question, why is it they want the name of all of your volunteers, all of your donors, despite the fact that it has nothing to do with any legitimate decision-making by the IRS in this matter? It may well be so that they can make punitive attacks on these individuals. This really is appalling behavior.
It is, and it's fortunate that my husband is not easily intimidated, and therefore I have him encouraging me so that I don't get intimidated by them very easily either. But the time that it took us to prove that we had filed those taxes and paid everything in 2000, this was back to 2000. Yeah. The time involved in getting our accountant involved again, and fortunately we don't destroy our documents and only keep 7 years of it. We do keep more than that. But what happens when you're told you're safe if you keep 7 years of your information, and yet they go back 12 years? Is that even legal?
Again, I don't know the specific tax law in that regard. It is obvious it's politically motivated, and that's what we ought to be focused on. Is just the abuse of power by this administration of this very powerful and feared bureaucracy.
Now, is there any way that we can personally protect ourselves from invasion of the IRS or these irrational audits? Is there anything we can do?
Well, yes, we need to have an administration that is dedicated to the constitutional principles that built this country.
So, in other words,
it comes down to that.
Vote.
This is a direct attack on our First Amendment freedoms of speech, of association, and to petition our government for redress of grievances. This is a direct attack on those most fundamental American freedoms. How do we defend our Constitution? Well, the first line of defense is to elect people who are devoted to that Constitution and sworn to uphold it. It is obvious that there are elements within this administration. Again, we need to find out how far it goes, but there are clearly elements high up in this administration who are dismissive of these constitutional freedoms of Americans. These people should not be in public office, and we have authority over that as voters through the elections. And it is absolutely essential that voters know what this agency is doing. And that's where, if you want to know what people can do to help, it's to tell your story in every form that they can find, and ultimately to hold this administration responsible for this kind of conduct.
I like the word responsible. Not even accountable, but responsible. It's their fault. What did you think about the victory in Indiana for the Tea Party?
Oh, I thought that was extraordinary. Of course, the Tea Party's had a huge number of victories all across the country.
Yes, we have.
I thought even more exciting than the Indiana victory was what happened in West Virginia. As you know, a convicted felon who is currently incarcerated in a prison in Texas somehow filed a candidacy in the Democratic primary for president in West Virginia, and in the same election night got 41% of the vote. 41% of
Didn't realize
Democrats.
it was that high.
This is Obama's own constituency. 41% of the Democratic voters in West Virginia voted for a convicted felon over Barack Obama. Now that tells that is the most dramatic indication yet that this administration may well end up being turned out of office by one of the biggest electoral majorities in American history.
And I hope that is the case. And I also see them taking some paths in directions that they haven't gone before that are diametrically opposed to the American people. Again, what happened in North Carolina with the gay marriage. Tea Party doesn't get involved in the social issues, but nevertheless, you can't help but notice the trend of stronger conservatism and an overwhelming victory with that, and yet then Joe Biden and Barack Obama come out and say, well, yeah, we are for gay marriage. So they're going totally against what the people vote for.
Well, the Tea Party is simply a manifestation of a phenomenon that we have seen from time and again throughout American history, when Americans sense that their country has moved seriously off course, when they begin to sense that their liberties are in danger, they rise up. They begin to focus enormous amounts of their time and attention on public policy. They become very well informed on these issues. They start making very, very good decisions at the ballot box, and they set things right. The Tea Party is simply a manifestation of that. We've seen it time and again in our history, and it's really the true strength of a democracy. It's when a crisis approaches and individual citizens recognize and meet their responsibility to set things right.
That's right. And you hear a lot from the mainstream media that the Tea Party is dead, we're no longer viable, but they have us interpreted as a protest group. They haven't realized that we have evolved. But however, we had our rally on tax day with over 2,000 people there, and the media didn't come out and cover us, but if there would have been 2,000 occupiers there, they would have been there.
If there were 20 occupiers there, they would have been there. No, the left-wing media is agog over the Occupy Wall Street crowd,
right.
Which is nothing but basically the latest manifestation of anarchism that we've seen pop up from time to time. But no, I agree with you completely. What I have observed of the Tea Party is this. The meetings are just as well attended, if not better attended, than they were just a year or two ago. The Tea Party has not gone away. They're not doing the same kind of rallies that they used to. They've gone to that next step. They are now organizing for political action, and that is hugely important.
That's right. We have candidates, or we have just members of the Tea Party just in Northern California here in our little town of Auburn that have gotten their name on the ballot. They're candidates. They're getting involved in local politics because that's where it all starts.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, the left has made a concerted effort over the past couple of years to vilify, excoriate, denigrate the Tea Party movement. Well, there's a reason they're doing that. It's because the Tea Party has a message that is resonating across the vast majority of American voters. We saw that in 2010. And my experience has always been when your adversary begins calling you names, you know you've won the debate, and you know that they know that you've won the debate. That's what's really going on. I mean, this attempt to vilify the Tea Party you think about it, the Tea Party's been blamed for everything from the assassination attempt on Gabby Giffords to the loss of the AAA credit rating of the United States government, which is such complete hogwash. But the more shrill the left gets, the more effective we know that the Tea Party has become in speaking for a growing majority of the American people.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you have to go for a vote, so I'm going to let you go, but I can't thank you enough for how you're fighting for us. Not just NorCal, I appreciate that. And you're fighting for all of us, but I feel so connected to what you're doing and to your way of thinking that I can't tell you how much we appreciate you, Congressman. And I just hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon.
Oh, Jenny, just keep up the fight.
You bet.
It's you folks that are making the real difference.
Thank you so much, Congressman.
You take care.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. That was great having Tom here. I know you guys all love him. We had to run things a little bit different than we normally do because he was very pressed for time. We didn't take our break, and we think it's very important to recognize our sponsors who make this show possible. So we're going to go to a break. We'll come right back and wrap things up.
NorCal Tea Party Radio is being sponsored by Big Dog Gabriel Crane. Gabriel has been a huge fan of the Tea Party since 2009. He carries a lot of weight wherever he goes and stands tall for what he believes in. His bite is worse than his bark. Each month we need sponsors to offset the cost of this program. For information on how you can become a sponsor, go to norcalteaparty.org.
Come gather here to reunite, join the revolution. We are strong and standing tall, upholding the Constitution.
Welcome back to We the People Radio. This is Ginny Rapini, and we are doing things a little bit different today. For those of you who are listening for the very first time, let me tell you a little bit about who we are and what we stand for. We are the Tea Party. We stand for 3 core values: fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and the free markets. And as you heard, we definitely have to fight for our liberty and our freedom. We also are not a PAC. We are not connected to any political party. Frankly, most of them in each party have disappointed us. They've lost their way, and they need to be brought back to the founding principles of this country. And that's what we do. And that's what we stand for. If you're looking for a way to get involved, there are many things that you can do to help turn things around. The one thing you can't do is to give up. A lot of people are leaving the state of California because they say it's hopeless here. But if you understand, California is the petri dish for socialism in this country. And as California goes, so does our nation. We must stand here and we must fight for our freedom and our liberty in this state, because as California goes, so does the nation. And we can turn California around, but we need your help. If you go to our website, norcalteaparty.com, you can find out how you can get involved. Go to our website, norcalteaparty.com. Quick message, we have a Memorial Day event at Placer County Fairgrounds, 3 o'clock on Sunday, May 27th. You can also get information at our website, norcalteaparty.com. Find out how you can get involved, how you could attend our meetings and our events, and be part of history in making a change in our state and our country. Have a great day.
Go gather here to reunite, join the revolution. We are strong and standing tall.
get involved? Individuals who want to become part of the NorCal Tea Party Patriots by attending meetings, events, or receiving action alerts, go to our website at norcalteapartypatriots.org. By signing in as a member, you'll receive our newsletter and action alerts. So get involved. NorCalTeaPartyPatriots.org.